Somewhere I Belong, Chapter 12, Part 2. This place gives me the creeps, Applejack said as she looked at the stones. I know what you mean. This place is absolutely dreadful, Rarity said with a scoff. Well, this is the place where we became friends, Pinky interjected. True, but that doesn't change the fact that this place feels weird, Rainbow added. Doesn't seem too bad to me. The mares looked up ahead to see the human sitting against the stone wall in front of a pile of ash. The mares hurried over to him as he got to his feet. Twilight hung back as the other mares hurried up to him with worried looks in their eyes. Guys, I'm fine, he said as they wrapped him in a hug. It's okay, Twilight. You don't have to say anything, he said as he held up a hand. No, I'm so sorry I hurt you. I shouldn't have acted that way, she said as tears formed in her eyes. I would have acted the same way. To be honest, I have no idea what happened, he said with a shrug. The lavender mare walked up to him and wrapped her arms around the man. Isaac felt the tears seep through his clothes. I feel horrible. I'm so sorry. Isaac returned the gesture and smiled. Oh, gag me, Discord said as he stuck out his tongue and pointed into his throat. Be careful what you wish for, Discord. The group looked up to see two large winged figures approach them. Twilight gulped as the two alicorn princesses landed in front of them. Twilight broke the embrace and bowed to her mentor. Hello, Twilight. Princess, I can explain this. She was cut off as the white princess raised a hand. I'm not here about that. I'm here about Isaac, she said as she walked up to the human. Isaac gulped and stood up straight. My sister tells me that through her blood, you've gained some odd abilities. I guess that explains the telekinesis, he said with another gulp. It intrigues me. That I'm the first human with powers? That her blood and magic didn't kill you. The ponies looked at the princess in surprise. Let me explain, the alicorn said in a calm tone. Alicorn blood holds massive amounts of magic, and almost no pony can control it. What happens if a pony were to receive alicorn blood? Isaac asked. Celestia bit her lip and let out a sigh. Their bodies would combust with raw power, Luna answered. Then, after that happened, any remaining cells would break down and detonate a second time, the Dark Princess said in a low tone. So they'll explode twice? Isaac said as he raised an eyebrow. The two gave a reluctant nod. Looks like I owe Spike 10 bits. The ponies looked at him in confusion. Now I have 3 questions. Is that happening to me? He asked as he looked at his hand. No, it would have already occurred, Luna said. Well, that's a relief, he said as he let out a sigh. My second question is this. Am I immortal like you? No, you haven't absorbed enough magic to become that strong. We are not sure what you can do, Celestia said in a relaxed tone. What's your final question? Can you take these powers away from me? The non-humans looked at the man in confusion. If it is possible, then consider it a request. The creature's jaws dropped in shock. You want me to take your powers away? Celestia asked. If it's possible, he said in a calm tone. Might I ask why? I've survived this long without them, and I can't really control them, he said as he shrugged. A nearby pillar was hit with an invisible force, causing it to fall. The creatures looked at the pillar and then back at the human in shock. See? It's too much power for someone like me to have. If I lose control, I'm scared of what I might do. The two alicorns looked at one another in confusion. Hold still, Celestia said as she walked up to the human. I have never been asked by some pony to remove their own powers, the goddess said as she put her hands on either side of the man's head. The alicorn closed her eyes and focused. Her hands and horns started to glow. Isaac felt an odd sensation flow through him. Celestia took a step back and let out a sigh. It appears that not even I can remove something like that, other than the obvious way. Which is, I end your life, she said in a flat tone. Isaac bit his lip at the statement. Well, I was hoping for something a little less lethal, he said in a disappointed tone. Oh well, you gotta deal with the cards you're dealt, I guess, he said to himself as he let out a sigh. We can't have you running around with no control on that power of yours, Celestia said as she summoned a small box. She opened it to reveal a necklace with a purple gem in the center. What is that? Isaac asked. That will keep your powers in check as your body gets used to them, she said as she handed the gem over to Isaac. Princess, may I ask something? The human said as he looked into the alicorn's eyes. Of course. Well, I don't mind living with Twilight. I feel like I'm mooching off of her, and I would like to find a place where I can call my own. I'm sure something can be arranged. Isaac gave her a bow. Thank you, Your Highness. I'll look around Ponyville and I'll see if I can find something that catches my eye, he said in a humble tone. The white alicorn smiled and turned back to her sister and the Chaos Lord, who were still glaring at the man in confusion. Good luck to you all. We must return to Canterlot, she said as the 3 took flight, leaving Isaac and the other 6 mares alone in the ruins. Isaac turned back to the mares, who had massive grins on their faces. Alright, let's head back then, he said as the group walked out of the large ruins. The mares followed close behind the human as they left the old palace. So what is this place? It was the old palace of the royal sisters, Twilight answered. Celestia and Luna used to live here. The ponies nodded. Yeah, it's also where we defeated Nightmare Moon, Pinky added. So this is where you used the elements of harmony on Luna then? Yeah, wait, how did you know about the elements? Twilight asked. Luna told me about it when she visited my dreams, he said as the ponies gave a collective O sound. Hey, this may sound out of the blue, but what happened to that griffin? Gilda, she's in the hospital, Rainbow added. I should probably go apologize to her. I didn't know what I was doing. She doesn't deserve it, Twilight said. Maybe not, but I still feel bad. Speaking of which, you told me that griffins don't live around here, so why did she come stirring up trouble in Ponyville? He said as he looked at the mares. She was making a delivery to Cloudsdale when she heard some pony talking about me and she started drinking. One thing led to another, and then she came here and started shooting her beak off. Rainbow answered. The group looked at her in surprise. How'd you know all that? Applejack asked. I went to go visit her after I left the library yesterday. The mares looked at her in confusion. I wanted to see if she was okay. You know, for old time's sake, she said with a weak grin. Dang it, Rainbow. She nearly killed Isaac. AJ stammered. Yeah, but she was drunk and wasn't in the right mind. We've all done things that we regret, she said as she remembered the falling incident. Isaac stepped between the two mares. Let's all calm down. Yes, Gilda hurt me, and I'm a little pissed at that, but I've also seen how someone gets when they go into a drunken rage, he said as he let out a sigh. Let me just find a place to stay, and then I'll go talk to Gilda, okay? The farmer let out a sigh and gave him a nod. The group made their way out of the dark forest and into the outskirts of town. As they came to the outskirts, Pinky noticed that Isaac was unusually quiet. You okay? Pinky asked as she put a hand on his shoulder. Yeah, it's just that... Never mind. What? You can tell us, Rarity said with a reassuring smile. Isaac let out a sigh and stopped walking. Buying a house here is finally making me realize that I won't be able to leave here. What's wrong with that? Rainbow asked. It's just that... He hesitated and let out a sigh. When my folks died, they left a lot of things for me in their will. A lot of sentimental stuff, not to mention valuable. Now I'm worried about what might happen to it all. He said in a low tone. I'd hate to think that my family's prized heirlooms would end up in a pawn shop somewhere being sold for less than what it's worth, he said as he continued walking. What kind of things? Twilight asked. Photos, family history, books, things that took generations to collect, and now it's all gone. I can't help but feel like I've disappointed them in some. He was cut off as he felt something collide with his face, sending him back onto the ground. Son of a bitch! He yelled as he grabbed his now bleeding nose. The ponies crouched down beside him and helped him to his feet. Twilight looked ahead and saw something flicker. Isaac looked in the same direction and saw a familiar blue police box. The door opened to reveal the tan earth pony stallion in a suit and red hat on his head. Ah, Isaac, good to see you again, he said with a smile. Okay, Doc, you need to stop cloaking that thing. This is the second time I've run into it, he said as he felt his nose bleed. Sorry, he said as he scratched his mane. How long has it been? 2, maybe 3 days? Really? Time flies, I suppose, he said with a smile. Isaac cracked his neck and looked at the doctor with a flat expression. What's wrong? He asked. Nothing, Isaac is just bummed that he left all of his valuable family heirlooms behind, that he's the only one of his kind in this world, and... The pink mare was silenced as Applejack put an orange hand over her mouth. The stallion looked at the man who was biting his lip. I see. Ladies, if you don't mind, I would like to talk with Isaac alone for a bit, he said as he looked at the mares. All right, Twilight said as she and the other mares left the two. The doctor led him into the TARDIS, and the two sat down. Isaac let out a sigh as he sat down on the couch. Look, Isaac, I know how you feel. How could you know that? You're a time traveler. You can go wherever, whenever you want. True, but I know what it's like to be alone, he said in a low tone. I'm not just a Time Lord, Isaac. I'm the last of the Time Lords. My planet is long gone, along with its people. Isaac looked at the stallion in shock. This box is all I have left. My family, my friends, are lost to me. Couldn't you just go back and... No, I can't ever go back. I locked them in a time void. Nothing can get in or out, he said with a heavy sigh. You and I are the same. We're both travelers, and we're both alone in this world. The stallion said as he put a hand on the human shoulder. It's just that Since I arrived here, I feel like I've become less human, he said as he looked at his right palm. He removed the pendant and watched as the opposite couch was levitated. The stallion looked in surprise at the human as he put the pendant back on and the couch dropped to the floor. Don't act too impressed. I can't even control it.